In today's video, I want to sit down with you while I enjoy this espresso and share with you some really interesting and valuable lessons that I've got recently from one of my mentors. And to tell you why you might find this video valuable and why you should even listen to what I'm saying, I'll tell you a bit about my mentor and also where he learned these lessons from, the way that he observed them. So my mentor is a man called Dimitry Toukhcher. Well, he's one of my many mentors that I'm fortunate enough to have. And Dimitry is the CEO of a tailoring company called LGFG. He makes suits for some very well-known people. Some of those names are Jordan Peterson, Alice Cooper, Ozzy Osbourne, Lennox Lewis, and also just many very successful lawyers and business people that you've never heard of, but they're operating at a very high level. And I asked Dimitry to tell me some of the personality traits of these ultra successful people across all of these different domains, right? From business people and lawyers to literal rock stars to fighters to intellectuals like Jordan. And what I found interesting about his answer was the fact that he didn't give me any of the generic wake up at 5 a.m., workout, journal, meditation, all of that kind of self-improvement stuff that we're all so tired of hearing. These personality traits are much more interesting. They go a lot deeper. So I won't waste any time. Let's get straight into the first one. The first personality trait of hugely successful men is that they are very high energy, okay? And maybe this is why I'm drinking my espresso, and I might encourage you to have one also. The world is not kind to low energy people because we all have the same number of hours in a day. Most of us will live for a fairly similar length of time. So time isn't the biggest differentiator. What's differentiating, however, is how you use that time. How many of those hours in the day can you maximize? And let's say we both have 1 hour. Somebody can get a lot more done in that 1 hour than the other person can. So your output, your ability to create things, to get things done, is determined by the levels of energy that you have. And there is a genetic component to this, but there are also things that we all know that raise our energy and that lower our energy. So if you want to be more successful, focus on those activities that give you more energy, things that revitalize you, things that give you focus, and avoid those activities that drain your energy. For me, alcohol is an activity that drained my energy, so I removed it from my life. The second personality trait is that they are not a prick. There's this misconception that very successful people have huge egos and they are therefore mean to other people. They don't treat others with respect. They're not considerate to other people. But this is not true at the highest level. Dimitry told me that all of these people that he's wanted to meet, whether it was Alice Cooper, Jordan Peterson, they are the nicest people you could ever meet. Not just to him, but he's also observed how they treat their fans, how they treat people around them, people that work for them, even people, on the lower rungs of the workforce. Let's say it's the security people or the people doing the catering at a venue. All of the most successful men treat everybody with kindness. And you have to think about why that is. A lot of the time, people being rude or unpleasant to other people comes from a place of insecurity. But if you are truly at the top of your game, bear in mind I'm talking about massively successful people here. If you are truly at the top of your game, why would you have any reason to be rude? Why would you have any reason to be a prick? He told me that often the pricks are found at the kind of middle manager level. People who have some degree of power and choose to exploit that to make themselves feel superior. But once you rise above that and you're truly the best you can be, there's no reason to not be nice to everybody that you encounter. The third trait I thought was incredibly interesting, and it's maybe something I need to work on myself. Hugely successful men are well prepared to the point of being over prepared. I'll give you a couple of examples here. When Lennox Lewis went to fight Mike Tyson, he wasn't nervous before the fight. The reason he wasn't nervous before the fight is because he knew he had done all of the possible training and preparation he could have done. There was nothing more he could have done to be ready for the fight. So why would he be nervous? Same as Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper does not get nervous before a show. Because if you are nervous, it just means you haven't rehearsed enough, you haven't practiced enough. And we can think about so many different situations in our lives where we might feel nervous, but in reality it's just because we are actually under-prepared. Preparation comes in two forms, really. Let's say you are giving a presentation at work. You can prepare for that. It's just a question of how much energy and how many hours do you want to put into preparing for it. If you are asking a girl out that you saw in a coffee shop and you want to ask her for her number, you might be nervous doing that, but obviously you can't practice that exact scenario with her before you go and do it. But if you are experienced in the art of conversation, in talking with strangers, you're going to feel less nervous because throughout the years you have prepared for that moment. The fourth trait of hugely successful men is high integrity. Integrity on a very basic level means doing what you said you would do and doing it when you said you would do it. And I believe that it's very difficult to reach high levels of success without this integrity, because nobody gets to the top by themselves. You have to stand on the shoulders of giants, so to speak. And you have to build a team of people that support you. You have to build that team around you that trust you, that want you to win. And if you can't keep your word, if you can't be the man you told them you would be, that they believe you to be, then they will no longer rally around you and they will no longer raise you up, and you won't reach those upper echelons. You might reach the middle echelons. You can become fairly successful in this world by yourself. But if you truly want to be one of the greats, who would, let's say, Ozzy Osbourne be without his guitar players like Randy Rhoads or Zakk Wylde, without his wife, Sharon, without his managers and record label people? You can even say the same for pretty much any successful person that you admire. There is a team of people around them and mentors and figures that have come along the way that have believed in them. They've believed that they are a person of integrity. They've supported them. They've been those shoulders that they can stand on to get to the level where they are today. So huge success only comes when others trust you. The fifth and final trait of hugely successful men is resilience. Overall, there are two main ways that men deal with rejection. You either get sad or you get mad. And those that become sad, just like I spoke about in my earlier point, this is a very low energy state. If you get sad by rejection, you get disheartened, you retreat within to yourself, how can you expect to become successful? However, when you get mad, as long as you use this madness, this anger, frustration, these negative feelings, you can actually turn that into a positive energy. But only if you take massive action. And this is another interesting facet of hugely successful people. They make a habit of doing things. They make a habit of doing things that unsuccessful people will never do. So those things that most people avoid, that they really ought to be doing. Let's take exercise as a very basic example. The majority of people don't exercise, okay? The majority of people do not go to the gym. Those with good bodies, those with impressive physiques, that is a habit that is completely second nature and a non-negotiable. You can apply this metaphorically to any domain that you're interested in. I make a habit of recording YouTube videos 3 to 4 times a week, as I'm doing right now. That is something that unsuccessful people that want to create a YouTube channel, that like the idea of having followers and creating a brand, they don't do it. They procrastinate. They put that off. So those are my 5 traits of hugely successful men in literally every domain, from the intellectuals like Peterson to the rock stars like Ozzy, over to the fighters like Lennox Lewis. I thought it was incredibly interesting that all of these traits, despite how different those men's personalities may seem, despite the very different industries and domains over which they have mastery of, these traits remain the same. I'd like to know from you in the comments which of these 5 traits you think you need to work on the most. And do you have a plan or an idea for how you will be able to work on this trait and develop it? Just to remind you, these were the 5 traits. We have number 1, high energy. Number 2, not being a prick. Number 3, being well prepared. 4, high integrity. And 5, resilience. Gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I'll see you very soon on the next one.